A lot of people have been asking me, Vegan Cheetah, what's up with pets? Do you believe in pets? What do you think about Ezel Mazard's stance on pet ownership?
I can understand people's frustration with this topic. I can understand people being confused. I can understand people being angry. I can understand people being disappointed. In some ways, the prominent figures who have discussed this topic have been responding to each other rather than responding to the question. In some way, I can see how that's a little bit off-putting to people. The purpose of this video is to simply talk about my thought process on the whole thing. And you'll see I'm going to use a lot of what the Vegan Cheetah had to say, because I think he answers in his video a couple of very specific questions that are mainstays within this topic as it's being discussed right now. I think this topic is complicated. I don't think it's an easy one. I think it's a thing that we're going to have to talk about for a long time. I think it's going to move past the stage that it's at right now.
Look, I have 3 cats. I'm not going to take the cats into the middle of the woods and just leave them there, to survive on their own.
I am not advocating, and I don't think anyone really is right now, that people open up their doors and let their animals walk out into the street. Cats, dogs, lizards, hamsters, whatever you have. Wave goodbye and say have at it. I don't think that's ethical. I don't think that's responsible. I don't think that's logistical. I don't think that's even healthy on so many levels. But I think this topic, this conversation, is getting stuck in that place right now. And I think it needs to move past that. Because I don't think that's the most important thing we need to talk about.
I do think that it's wrong to kind of expect an animal to live in my house the way I want it to live, depriving it of any, sense of sense of self, depriving it of the ability to defend itself, to live for itself, to survive on its own. I don't believe that I will be adopting any more cats. I don't believe I will be keeping pets.
The other day, I had a friend who proposed a very simple scenario to me. I'm at a shelter, and the owner of the shelter says to me, this puppy right here, if you do not buy this puppy, if you do not adopt this puppy is going to be euthanized.
What happens if they say, here's a chicken, you eat this, or we kill another chicken?
You just asked a question which was the hardest question that the toughest moral philosopher, when I did philosophy at university, asked us.
Wicked.
On one hand, an animal being euthanized is causing suffering, directly, undeniably. On the other hand, I can't see myself supporting an industry that profits off animal castration and the limiting of choices and the controlling of behavior. I don't think those things are right either. So if I don't adopt that animal, an animal dies. But if I do adopt that animal, in my opinion, I'm guaranteeing that more animals will die, that more animals will be harmed in the future. It's a very simple question, but it's a very difficult question. Because I don't see an answer to it that doesn't cause some sort of suffering. There is no ethical boon to be had. It's just another reminder of the reality that vegans in modern day society will never cause zero suffering. In my mind, it is legitimately a no-win scenario. But I also believe that using that reality as an excuse to not tackle a question is unacceptable. In some ways, it actually simplifies it. It focuses it, forces you to make a value decision. And situations like this where you have to make a value decision, I don't know if there really are bad people and good people. It's just a question of what you're able to do, what you can live with, what you can stand for, what you really believe in, and taking responsibility for that.
The only rules that really matter are these. What a man can do and what a man can't do. For instance, you can accept that your father was a pirate and a good man, or you can't.
It forces you, challenges you to show who you really are. I understand that there's no perfect response to this question. And while that doesn't negate you from not making a decision, from not tackling it, for not going at it, I do respect the fact that people are just going to have to do the best they can. That maybe you just do what you can live with.
Hello. 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 That's Pete, and that's Cheeto.
In 2009, when I was away doing an internship during the summer of, I think it was before my senior year of college, my family got a dog. They got a puppy. They got her from a shelter down along the coast. Her name is Belle. She's about 7 years this year. I would describe her as a very good girl, very nice, very friendly animal. If you come in the door, you know, she'll be wagging her tail. She always has to grab a toy to have in her mouth because otherwise she's going to be grabbing onto your arm. But what she does after that is she always tries to lead you into my parents' bedroom. She lives at home right now. She's basically my dad's dog at this point. But she tries to lead you to the biggest bed that she can find, basically. And she likes to get up on the bed, and she likes to lie down, and she likes to turn over onto her side and expose her belly and lift her legs so that you can come and give her scratches. And while you're giving her scratches, she likes to lick your face. Very classic, very positive behaviors for a domesticated dog to have. But I have to admit, since becoming vegan, I've looked at some of those behaviors a little bit differently.
I dated this girl one time. Her name was Sarah when I was 18. They had these big pit bull Labrador mixes, man. And these things were fucking disgusting. Like, she would literally let the dog fucking tongue her in the mouth.
Now, I've talked a lot about working in the zoo field and stuff like that, and I don't have any papers to prove that I have any of these experiences to substantiate any of my claims and stuff like that. But I do have, a few pieces of artifacts that from time to time do show up when I decide to look at them and things like that. This right here, this is the husbandry manual, the 2007 version for the Mexican gray wolf species survival plan. It basically has all the regulations that captive facilities have to follow as far as caring for their animals and designing their facility and capturing, knocking down medical stuff, all kinds of random things that you would never even think of until reading it that first week before you start working as an intern at a facility like that. But I have a fairly good background experience with wolves and what their behaviors are like and their biology and things like that. One of the classic behaviors for wolf pack behavior is defensive submission, which one of the classic positions is a wolf lying on its back, exposing its belly, putting its limbs up in the air for the alpha, kind of a surrender type position. And that's meant to show that you're lower in stature, in hierarchy than the other individual, and for them not to hurt you, essentially. The licking of the face is a little bit more complicated. I think the most common time you'll see that is when wolves are eating, when a pack of wolves are eating from a carcass, and the omega, the lowest ranking member, wants to get some food and eventually. Stumbling over words apparently. But and what the omega will do to plead the alpha to try to get in there and get some food so it doesn't starve is that one of the things it'll do is it'll lick the alpha's face in a begging posture. That small dog, that domestic canine, is lying on its back, limbs in the air, licking me in the face. And most people would think of that as a playful behavior. For a domesticated dog, most people would see that as a happy behavior. But I know the context of that behavior. There's a dominating context to that behavior. A sequence of behavior pattern that has a real meaning in the wild. And on some level, something very serious like that has real implications for survival. And how in the context that is this now, as I know it, as it really occurs in my life, is something kind of not serious. There's something that seems wrong about it. Something that seems out of place. And when I try to answer these questions, I can absolutely not ignore that. Those are real thoughts, real things that play into what I think, my ideas.
Now me, for example, I can let you drown. But I can't bring the ship into Tortuga all by me once, savvy?
I can live with walking away from that shelter and not adopting that animal. What I can't live with is supporting that industry. What I can't live with is taking an animal into a lifestyle that I don't agree with on a very, very deep level. Right now, that's my answer to what is admittedly a very, very, very difficult question. And I challenge you. What is yours?
So, can you sail under the command of a pirate? Or can you not?
Because girls are always about their dog, you know what I mean? They're like, oh my god, my dog is so cute. And I'm just sitting there like, no, your fucking dog's ugly as fuck.
No, your fucking dog's ugly as fuck.